Okay, looking at this problem, we're dealing with a standard normal curve, which means we have a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. And they want us to find these data values that are associated with the different percentages. When you're asking for the data value that's associated with a different percent, what you're going to want to use is that norm inverse button or command in Excel. But the norm inverse command it returns the area to the left. So the norm dot inverse command returns the data value associated with a particular given area to the left. So you always have to, no matter what they say in the norm inverse command, you always have to give it the area to the left. So, for example, on the choice A, it says choose the correct graph of the highest 15%. Well, the highest 15% is clearly going to be choice D. This is the highest 15% of the curve. But in order to do this with the, with your command on your calculator, you're going to have to ask for you're going to use the norm, or on the Excel, you're going to use the norm inverse command, but you're not going to put 0.15 as the area to the left, because that would give you this Z over here. You're going to have to say, all right, this white area is 100% minus the 15%, or 0.85, and that's what I need to find to use as my area to the left when I actually want to compute that value. Okay, so in order to get that Z-score that cuts off the highest 15%, I'm going to say equals norm inverse and then I'll do parentheses, and I have to do 0.85, or I could do 1 minus 0.15 if I wanted there, comma the mean, which is 0, comma their standard deviation, which is 1. And so that's the data value. Rounded to 2 decimal places is going to be 1.04. Okay, and so that's really all you're going to be doing here. The highest 75% is going to be this area again to the right. This is your highest 75%. But to do it on the computer, and I'll just go ahead and edit this one that I already typed in, the highest 75%, the area to the left is 0.25. This white area right here is only 0.25 because the whole thing's 100%. Of course, you have to make it decimal. And so I'll hit enter, and it'll give me negative 0.64 is the number, or negative 74, but they only want it to 2 decimal places. Okay, now the lowest 55%, now I don't have to think very much. Let's see, 55% is going to be beyond the mean, so it's going to be either B or D, but I think it's going to be D because you have to be a little bit beyond the mean, so that's why it's going to be D. They seem to all be D. It's weird. Okay, no. Okay, so check answer, and I say okay, and then to find, now that it says lowest 55%, now I get to use this command, the inverse norm, but since it says lowest, I just get to put the number that I have, the 0.55. So that's going to be rounded to the nearest 2 decimal places, that's 0.13. Okay, continue. Choose the graph, the middle 90%. Okay, the middle 90% is probably A. Yeah, on either side we've got, so that's your middle 90%, so that's going to be choice A. All right, and now to find the cutoff values in the middle 90%, with the Z-score, it's going to be the positive and negative of the same number. So if you do the norm inverse, let's see, this is 90%, and you have 10% left to split between the tails. So this white part on this side is going to be 5%, or 0.05. So if you do the norm inverse of 0.05, you'll get this number, which will be a negative number, and the positive of that will be on the other side, or you can do norm inverse 0.95 and you get the same value. So what you want to do is come up here to your command and change it to 0.05, and it gives you negative 1.64. And so if you change it to 0.95, notice you'll get positive 1.64. So it's between negative 1.64 and positive 1.64 is the middle 90%. Okay, so I hope that helps.